to all of the people in our community who are in charge of different groups of people. I'm going to name the hospital, Bethany Home, Bethany College, certainly the city of Lindsborg, our school district. We have really good people in charge. We have good boards that are advising those people, and we are trying our best to do the right thing for our community. I'm not going to even talk about all of the challenges that there are before us, but there are many. But the most important thing that I want to say to everyone is we really need to pay attention, and we need to take this seriously. And we have all of these people that are working very hard and trying to do their best jobs. So again, thank you to all those people. If you have questions about anything, about what you should be doing or not be doing, please reach out to the city, and we will try to point you into the right direction. I also want to say a special thank you to all of our businesses in the community. This is an incredibly difficult time for them. We don't know how long it's going to go on, but we know these people. We shop in their stores. We eat in their restaurants, all of that, and this is just really, really hard. So please remember all of these people as you live your daily lives. So that's the only, as far as March meetings, I don't even know what to say, because we continue to say, oh, we're not going to do that, or we're not going to do this. So I also want to say a special thank you to Holly Lofton in the CBB. They are trying to stay on top of all of the activities, and this weekend is Waffle Doggin'. This funny little quirky festival is 10 years old this year. We were all excited about celebrating it after 10 years, and now we're going to be doing different things. But I want to say a special thank you to the CBD office for trying to stay on top of the events that are supposed to be scheduled at the Sunstrom as well as in our community. So thank you to all of those people. Also, I want to say also a special thank you to Greg Dumars, our city administrator. He is staying on top of this. This is not an easy time for cities. And we had a meeting this morning where we try to bring all the people together that are thinking about what are the best plans for our community. And so thank you to Greg for that. And at that, I will ask, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Before you make that motion, let me move this, and it makes really a lot of noise. So to catch our voices, I thought I'd do it before everybody started talking.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Do I hear a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Oxy.
Elon.
Yes.
Rebecca.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Kirsten.
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Jody. Yes. Ed.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is approved. Are there any appointments?
No appointments.
All right. Planning and zoning?
No report.
Old business?
No business.
All right. New business. Crack seal equipment rental.
I think it was about 2 years ago, as part of the street maintenance program, we started crack sealing again. The city had old crack seal equipment, and it didn't operate very well, required a lot of maintenance. And so as a trial basis, since it's been many years since we've done crack sealing and maintained streets, we did equipment rental. We found out it's more feasible to rent it. We can get newer equipment. It operates more efficiently, and they can get more work done in the same amount of time in terms of crack sealing. And So you have a proposal in front of you to approve $3,049 from PMSI for the rental of a Craftco sealant melter and 1 pallet of sealant.
There's a motion, do I hear a motion for that?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion.
Looking at this, Greg, is this something that we do every year, or we haven't done it for a couple?
We've been trying to do it every year. Under the street maintenance program, we got in I'll call it a rut. We got in a rut in how we were doing street maintenance. We kept doing the same programs over and over again. And really, when the gas prices went to like $4 a gallon, we really fell behind. And the level of maintenance required was a mill and overlay, things like that. So this is really an effort to extend the life of streets, because moisture and freezing and thawing of that moisture in streets really tears it up faster than anything. So if we can minimize the amount of moisture that gets trapped underneath the pavement, we're better off.
Any other discussion? Ed,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes.
Blaine,
Yes.
Kirsten,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Emo.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item is the corrected golf cart lease.
Last meeting, it was brought to you to approve $9,600 for the golf cart lease. Our failure to do math properly, therefore the amount approved was incorrect. The correct amount for the 10 golf carts would be $10,872. And I would ask the city attorney, we need to rescind that motion that was approved last month, or just approve the differential amount?
Just approve the difference. I just make the motion at this point
Okay.
to do the 10,872 to replace the previous motion.
Okay.
That is a motion.
Well, and the previous expense approved was 9,600.
That is correct, yes.
So I would make a motion to accept the golf cart lease in the amount of $10,872 to replace the previous accepted amount of $9,600.
Motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, do I hear any discussion? This is for the same number of carts.
Correct.
Alright. Hearing none, Roxanne. Kirsten,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Emo,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes. Blaine.
Yes.
motion is approved. The dogwood capacity sale.
The city of Lindsborg has ownership position of 1 megawatt in the dogwood generating facility. Part of the cost component is capacity and then also energy. Capacities, you can look at it as a capital cost, but in the Southwest Power Pool, you're also required to carry 112% of your peak demand, have that much capacity. Well, this is an opportunity to sell our megawatt of capacity in the non-summer months, because we don't need the same level of capacity in the non-summer months as we do in the winter months. But you still have to pay for that capacity. So it's a way to sell it back to the generating facility so that they can market somewhere else, but yet get some revenue back on something that would just be an expense. The offer is to sell the megawatt of capacity for the months of October 2020 and November 2020, and then March 2021 through May of 2021 at 50 cents per kilowatt hour, which would be about $2,500 worth of revenue.
So that is a motion to approve this agreement.
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Second. Does anyone have any questions about this?
So just out of curiosity, why are we not asked to sell January and February?
They don't have the need for it.
They Dogwood.
They being Dogwood. There are several partners in the facility. One is the actual Dogwood operating company, Kansas Municipal Energy Agency, which we are a part of, where we have the 1 megawatt piece, Kansas Power Pool, Kansas City Board of Public Utilities, the McPherson Public Utility, no, did I say McPherson? I meant Missouri Public Utility Alliance, and I think there's one other partner in that facility. And really they're seeking to buy a level of capacity back from everyone.
Would you give us the Cliff Note version of Dogwood?
It's a natural gas combined cycle generating facility of 650 megawatts. While we have an ownership position in it, we don't take power directly from it, and that's because of the Southwest Power Pool, everything that's been into the market. For us, it's been a very good opportunity of ownership because it works well in the market with wind and solar because it can react to the market fairly quickly, which coal, nuclear, things like that don't. We just finished, we being Dogwood and all the partners, finished a very productive year. I mean, there were months in there that it was generating close to $400,000 of net profit, and we get a pro rata share of that. So it was pretty well offsetting the cost of our investment in that facility, which at this time, we still have a contract with Westar. But it's a piece of our generation for power supply for moving forward when our contract expired with Westar or Evergy.
Which will be, I'm sorry,
No, go ahead.
which is coming up in May?
May 31 of this year,
And how long have you been in that contract?
2 years.
Okay. And this will be important for Lindsborg because?
It's a reliable power supply. It allows us to diversify our portfolio of resources. Right now, we have natural gas, which is Dogwood. We have some wind, which is the Buckeye Wind Project, which we have a purchase power agreement. We also have 2 hydro resources. One's the Western Area Power Administration, which is out of Colorado, and then we have Southwest Power Administration, which is out of Missouri. That doesn't fulfill all of our needs. Right now, energy is extremely inexpensive through the Southwest Power Pool, but we will continue to look at opportunities to fill out our power supply needs.
And this is all in pursuit of reduced rates for our community.
Well, reduced costs, I mean, hopefully they get reflected in reduced rates. I mean, that's the goal, at least control the cost, because under our current contract, our cost of capacity is about, it's 10 times the cost of market capacity right now.
All right. I'm sure that you all have that all understood. Are there any other questions, any discussions on this?
Rebecca.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Lenny.
Yes.
Jody. Yes. Ed.
Yes.
Eno.
Yes.
Motion carries. Digital budget book suite.
one of my goals has been to, I guess, make the budgeting process a little more efficient in terms of preparation of the documents and communicating the information better, more graphically. Currently, we have the staff CIP meetings, and everybody's running separate spreadsheets where we're trying to pull all of the information together. Additionally, taking those spreadsheets, converting them into charts, and then copying into the actual budget document. And since you only do it once a year, I always screw it up where I don't pull the right copy command for the chart, so that if I go into the Excel spreadsheet and change a number there, it doesn't get reflected into the Word document. And so it takes between Cassie and I, it's well over a week's time just to compile all of the data into that document. This would allow, as things are updated, to automatically update charts, update data. It is definitely a much more transparent product for the public, and will definitely stream the process in-house. I'm recommending that we do this, at least on a one-year basis. We've tried another product in the past, not on budget, but a transparency project that really nobody was interested in. But even if it saves us on the budget side, it will be more transparent, but it would save a lot of time, particularly in the budget preparation piece of the document. And I would also be able to put some of the responsibility of drafting the narratives that go with it back onto department heads.
All right, so this is a motion to approve $3,750.
And if I may interrupt you,
Yes.
it's, that $3,375 does not include the $1,200 one-time setup fee, so the actual amount to approve would be $4,575.
All right. That is a motion. Do I hear a motion to approve this?
Make a motion that we approve $4,575 for digital budget book subscription with ClearGov.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Questions?
How much was it? Was it 4,575 or 4,475?
4,575.
That would, if we approve this tonight, that would be available to department heads to use in this budgeting process?
Yes, it would be.
All right.
Greg, were you able to talk to any references that are using this product or get a sense of?
Well, in terms of right now, this is a new product under development. That's why they're giving the 25% discount. The company itself has been around. I can't remember the other products that they offer off the top of my head. Unfortunately, I'm not as prepared for this meeting as I.
Is this a Kansas company?
No, this company's actually out of Massachusetts.
Any other discussion?
Are other cities using similar things, just from different distributors?
There are some out there. A company called Granicus does something like this. We looked at Granicus for agenda management. From a price structure standpoint, you're looking in the 5 digits for that. And that's for agenda management. This is much more involved than an agenda management application. There's several of them. I just can't remember them off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
I was just curious, that's all, to see if this was a totally new idea of trying to make that more transparent, or if it was something that was in place and somebody's just found a way to do it more
for a one-year contract.
Correct.
So is it cloud-based or is it?
Yes, it is. And it would also allow us to produce, while we post our budget online, we also produce hard copies. We would be able to do that through this. What we have to do is go through the PDF conversion and print it out.
Any other questions? Discussion? Emo?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Kirsten?
Yes.
Blaine?
Yes.
Jody?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Motion approved. So there's no executive session.
No, there's not.
Other? Coronavirus.
I'm assuming you would like to visit a little bit about that. Definitely things have really accelerated over the last couple weeks, and the last week is just, as each day happens, it just accelerates more and more. You make a decision one day and then you find new information the next day and you're going, well, if I would have known that, I would have done this. So it is definitely an event that is checks your flexibility and adaptability. There are times that you're making decisions with a minimum of information, and it's not because you're not looking. It's unfortunately, it's for everybody. It's evolving process. In terms of city operations themselves, we have closed all of the city buildings to public access, and encouraging the public to either do business with the city online or via phone. And, we haven't heard much. I guess today's the first day we've officially done that, but we've only had, one or two people that really wanted to come into the building. And other than that, the public has been pretty accepting. We put some information out last week about how to pay your utility bills, either online, through ACH, you can call in, or the Dropbox. We will continue to offer those options. One of the things we will not do during this time is we will not disconnect utilities. We do ask that the public, if they're unable to pay, to contact us so that we can visit with them and make arrangements once situations change. Made that decision this morning, this afternoon. KCC came out with an order saying there are no utility disconnects. We will be canceling soccer for the spring. Additionally, the Easter egg hunt will be canceled also. Two popular activities. So if you may hear something about that, the decision was made. The official contact to those people that had registered for soccer will be going out tomorrow. Refunds will be made to everyone that had registered their children to participate in the program. At the Sunstrom, we actually have, over the next 2 months, about 8 different events scheduled. 4 of them, if I remember correctly, are with Mid-Kansas Co-op. And they have, there as a company are taking actions to step back from public meetings anyway. The most challenging decision over the whole regarding the events at the Sunstrom was there was a wedding scheduled for Saturday, about 150 people. We offered the opportunity to have a small wedding and then host the reception at another time, or the option of not having it at all. We told them we would check people for fevers and things as they came in, just because it's not only the people that are attending, it's the staff that we have working in. And much of the staff that work at the Sunstrom are also school teachers. So we didn't want to get to that environment of the opportunity to have a teacher introduce it through one of our events within the school district. So they were contacted today, and that family made the decision to actually postponing the wedding until they think sometime in September. So very hard decision. I mean, I just had a daughter that got married last fall, and I know exactly. I can't imagine what my wife would be doing if I had to tell her that a week before the wedding, let alone my daughter. I probably wouldn't be here today. We're trying to get resources out or make available resources. One of the biggest challenges is, you put it on Facebook, you can put it on your website, but how do you really push that information out there? We are looking at a texting program. We're waiting to hear back. I don't know whether they just have a large volume of requests, but they also, it's really designed for politicians who are campaigning, because they are the only ones that can truly grab a database of cell phone numbers and robocall. And I don't know whether they have a large demand for their service right now. Have sent a couple of emails, we've made a phone call, we're not getting any response yet, but the idea is they would be able to access 30%, they say they have 30% of the registered voters in their database. That'd be 30% more than we know who we're connecting with right now. If we could get that service as a way to push information out. One of the things that discussion late this afternoon, follow up tomorrow on, is the idea of geofencing. Using geofencing to push data out to any cell phone within that defined area, where they meet the parameters that are set up for the geofence. So that's something we'll be looking at tomorrow. This morning, we, as the mayor said, hosted a meeting that involved the school district, the hospital, the nursing home, the college, Sprout House. And the purpose of the meeting wasn't so much to make decisions collectively, to find out where everybody is. And up until like this morning, a lot of us had been working in silos. And we wanted to make sure that what we were doing as the city was not in conflict with other organizations' directions, and for everybody to hear what everybody else is doing. Very happy to say and report that everybody is being extremely proactive in what they're doing. It is a bit of a challenge, as I said earlier, with the amount of available information out there. I mean, this is an unknown virus, and I think one of the big takeaways, and I think one of the big messages that needs to continue to get out there, not only from the city and every organization that was there, and everybody agreed on this, is that one of the primary things we need to bring home to everybody is, we're going to have people get sick. We just need to make sure we're managing that curve so that we don't have a spike in that curve and overload the healthcare resources within our communities. If we can manage the curve by doing those right things, those correct things of social distancing, small gatherings, simple things of hand washing, good hygiene. If you're sick, stay home. If you're ordered to be in quarantine, that doesn't mean, I need something from the grocery store, it's only going to take me a couple of minutes, I run to the grocery store. It means you're quarantined, you stay away from the general public. you know, it's gonna take those types of efforts and discipline, on people's parts. We can put, if it's so desired, things in place, and we could declare a local emergency which provides some opportunity. The mayor or myself have the authority to declare a local emergency for up to 7 days. Any longer than that, it would require a council approval to extend beyond that. In the statute itself, it's kind of, I don't know if broad, vague is probably a better word.
It's wide open. It
It's-
doesn't
it's-
define what you can or cannot do other than declare an emergency and put in place
Those, go ahead.
certain restrictive, restrictive is the right word. Certain responses to that, it's declared as a disaster, even a pandemic type thing is a quote disaster in the terms of the statute. Doesn't really limit, but you would have constitutional limits. You know, if you're gonna try to limit the number of people at a particular event. Greg asked me this afternoon, could it be done to restrict or to eliminate church services? And I don't think so, because you have constitutional rights to a freedom of religion. But you could put reasonable restrictions on the number of people who could be assembled at any particular time. I don't think you could ban an assembly, but you could put a reasonable restriction on it.
Which would.
Beyond that, it's kind of just, it's wide open.
That would include churches?
It could, as long as there was a reasonable restriction as to
So,
numbers.
funerals?
Yeah, I think you could.
Well, I saw that Ottawa County today banned all funerals, which is Minneapolis.
Well,
So can,
this is uncharted territory. What I'm telling you is my opinion as to what you can do. These are not specific laws, they're not specific cases that have interpreted this law. I think you can put, quote, reasonable restrictions on. If somebody wants to challenge that, then a court's gonna have to decide whether that's reasonable.
so Bill, if that is in effect for 7 days, does this body have to come back together and elongate that for another 7 days?
If it was to be extended past 7 days, yes, it takes city council authority. The mayor can declare this for a period of up to 7 days, but no longer than that without council approval.
So then if council approves it, does it have to be another 7 days or can it be longer than that?
It can be a longer period. I don't think, as I recall, looking at the statute, I don't think there was a particular length of time restricted.
No, there is not.
Because we're looking at months of this, I mean, it's not gonna be a quick thing.
One thing regarding committee meetings, they've all been canceled, at least for the balance of this month. We will look at it again later for April. We are looking at how we can conduct meetings online. One challenge is,
Watch this down.
you probably should see me like that. You are subject to open meetings law, which means you have to allow the public to view. I mean, currently we allow public input. That's a courtesy. It's not a requirement. But I think it's a good courtesy for a city council to have. We're looking at potentially the options of how do we have meetings online? What platforms can we get everybody together and still allow public access to the meeting? If we pursued that type of meeting option, I think we should still allow public input, but we could put the requirement in there that it has to be a document of some type, either paper or electronic, that is how it's submitted. So that is one of the things that we are looking at. You know, how we do business is probably going to change for a while. Some of those front burner projects have definitely moved back. We're looking at what are our essential functions, and we've identified those as public safety, in other words, police, fire, EMS, also public works, particularly utilities, water, wastewater, and electric. One great thing about our utilities is we cross-train all the employees. So they can support each other in the event of an outbreak within city staff. We've had a micro experience already with that this year. I can tell you in City Hall, I think this is maybe the first week or maybe the second week all year we've had a full staff in City Hall. We've had people out with illness every week, and at times it's been 2 or 3 people. So we know we can survive, we just don't get as much done, but we get done what we have to get done. From a water and wastewater standpoint, on water, we don't have we don't have a water treatment plant, which is wonderful because we don't have staff of a water treatment plant. We have a well field that the quality of the water is such that we just have to chlorinate it and send it down the line. If we have an issue at the well field, one of our employees lives about 2 miles from the well field, can go over there, even in a quarantine situation, and not have any contact with the public. It's a closed system, so that you don't have to worry about that getting in the water system also. Wastewater treatment plant, that whole plant can be operated remotely if need be. And additionally, in Europe, there's been some of the coronavirus in wastewater. Our treatment process is a biological process, but the last step in the process is a UV disinfectant system. That was upgraded and replaced in 2019, so we have a very new upgraded UV disinfectant system. So under KDHE guidelines, they believe that is sufficient to eradicate the virus if it is in the wastewater stream. Electric, we are, all of our public works employees are, like I said earlier, are cross-trained. We only have 2 linemen, which is, we're understaffed there. But if we have 1 lineman, we'll be okay, as long as we have 1 other public works employee available, because they can work as a ground crew. They can't work in the bucket, but they can work on the ground, providing tools, running more gopher type activities. It'll take us longer to respond or to correct the issue, but we will be able to do it. Same way if there's a water line break, and wastewater, we don't have typically don't have water line breaks, but if there's a sewer main backup, and this is a time when the money spent on sewer line maintenance is well worth it. The probability of having a backup in our system is minimal. We have to have a lift station failure, and that's a whole different issue. It's a pump replacement, and then we can move on. Is there anything else that I have here?
Chris, I was asked 2 questions today. One was, will our swimming pool open this summer? Okay.
I'm waiting for both of them.
And the other was, will the new housing development be put on hold? And I didn't answer either one of those questions. I said, I'll find out.
On the swimming pool, the answer right now is we are planning like it's going to be open. It's one of those things where we're going to have to be adaptable. If it looks like it doesn't make sense for the pool to be open from a public health standpoint, we're not going to open the pool. part of the challenge moving forward is, the pool is one of those places in the summertime that for some children, it's their babysitter. For others, it's just the center of their activities. If we don't open the pool, then we need to at least propose out there alternate activities that they can do in smaller groups. And so that's going to be a challenge that we have moving forward. Regarding the subdivision, there have been no talks to put it on the back burner. Right now, the process is, the issue is the sewer line and getting KDHE approval for the collection system on the wastewater line.
I mean, on the smaller group thing, CDC came out this afternoon and the group rate is now 10.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know that we're gonna be able to come up with different activities that people can do in small groups. I mean, who knows what that, I mean, that's gone from 500 to 10 in the last 3 days, so.
Let's see if I can find it here. This was coronavirus.gov just came out actually today. Little information piece. And I kind of like this sentence because we always talk about the vulnerable populations, which is very important, but I think we lose fact of everybody can get sick and everybody is potentially a carrier. And I like this statement that says, even if you're young or otherwise healthy, you're at risk and your activities can increase the risk for others. It is critical that you do your part to slow the spread of the coronavirus. And so, just because you're a normally healthy individual doesn't mean you could be asymptomatic and impact somebody else. So, it could be one of those vulnerable people. Two last items on this. This came out this afternoon from Department of Commerce regarding Small Business Administration coronavirus assistance resources. And they have put into place it's called the Estimated Disaster Economic Injury Worksheet for assistance through SBA for small businesses, and we will make that available on our website, or at least a link to this particular document for businesses. One last thing I would like to say is that in the decision-making process in this, it has been kind of twofold. Is one, do you err on the side of caution, or do you err on the side of being more lax? We have chosen the side of caution. And my feeling is I would rather be mocked or ridiculed, made fun of for being overreactive than being underreactive, and then someone contracts the virus and it becomes a fatal illness for them. Knowing that we could have taken some type of action that could have mitigated the opportunity for that individual to contract that virus. That is a lot harder to accept than the alternative. So that has guided the decision-making process in what we have done. And we have canceled court for tomorrow and the first Tuesday in April. So it's kind of where we stand right now. So any other questions or thoughts or comments, we'd be happy to hear.
I will say that, of course, I work for the city of Salina, and this is almost verbatim what we are hearing as staff, almost identical forms of action that are being taken. So, we're not in this ourselves and other communities, at least Salina, I know, is taking similar situations. They actually canceled their commission meeting tonight too, their study session.
Tomorrow, there will be a meeting at Nickerson County Health
Department.
Department for the whole county people. So we'll be going to that and hearing whatever the new guidelines are coming out of that. There will be changes, I'm sure, about our restaurants and bars, and which will impact all of our lives. I mean, this is what people do. And so, what that's gonna look like, I don't know. We'll listen to what, certainly the governor says, and, of course, the county health department tells us. And whatever, if we do, declare an emergency for Lindsborg, and we name things that we don't think can happen, should happen. If you hear things in the community and all the groups that you all work in and live in and are your friends,
Which you should not be a part of for the next 2 weeks. You should be in your house by yourself with your family.
that's right. And if you hear something remotely, please let Greg know. Please let the city know this. We want to be of help to our community as much as we possibly can. And so rumor and innuendo is not good. So that's not going to help me.
I'm, with the no disconnect, I assume there are fees associated with, reaching that point? We're not disconnecting, but there's not fees that are mounting during that, how does that work?
No, we'll,
The one-time reconnect fee or something would still apply?
no, we're not gonna, if we're not disconnecting you, we're not gonna charge a reconnect fee. Under our system, we can charge late fees. We haven't discussed that. That's a good point. Thank you for bringing it up. We need to waive those also.
The city utility fees are probably the least of some people's worry, and I'm glad that there's small business loans are available, but the last thing you need if you don't have any revenue is a loan to pay back when you don't,
Yeah.
looking for opportunities to spread that out, I think is
One
something
of the
that's gonna
issues
be
that we did talk quite a while this morning was about people that are in quarantine, and there are a number of people in Lindsborg in quarantine. You and I are aware of all of those, but there are already, and there will be more. And so what does quarantine mean? I was asked the question, well, I'm in quarantine, but I'm supposed to host my book club, so I'm just going to tell them to come to my house. That's not the same. So understanding the definition of quarantine, what does that mean? And the other part is there will be a lot of our older population, they're going to need help. We've reached out to the senior center. We are trying to understand what they have available through their clientele, certainly the hospital, what they have through Meals on Wheels. But I guess thinking about our whole community, if you have a neighbor or an acquaintance, reach out to these people and ask, what can we do? We don't want to have somebody sitting in their house for 2 weeks totally alone and not having access to food, friends, whatever. So I guess, this has always been a community that has cared a lot about each other, and I hope that that's what we will continue to do now.
But that can also be done by phone and email and everything else. It doesn't have to be an in-person.
No, it does not.
It's just making sure we check on people and connect with them. Even that way is better than being completely isolated.
Another issue, and seeing Chief here right now, is the stress that this will be putting on our public safety group, which is police, fire, and EMS. And do you want to say anything about that, Mike?
I can tell you that in coordination with Greg and the county, we've been working to develop strategies to protect our staff. and to give them protections and for the public that we're dealing with. So we are taking those steps. We do have a supply of equipment that we can use, protective equipment, that our staff is utilizing on a regular basis, including disinfecting all the vehicles and equipment that we're using on a regular basis. So we're taking those steps to protect our staff, but also to protect the people that we expect to help in this time. So right now, everybody's on board. Everybody's they're willing to help, and the level right now is good with our folks. So we're doing well right now.
Thank you. Thank your staff.
So you said the city buildings were not open to the public. Is that just literally this building? Like, is the library open? Is it closed?
The library is currently open.
No, I don't think so. I think it closed.
Did they? Okay.
Carol advised me that it was closed till Friday at least, she said.
Okay. So,
Secondhand information.
how reliable is the source?
I will not. Coronavirus is nothing compared to what
Those buildings are City Hall, Public Works, Public Safety, Streets, and the Park building. It does not include the library. We don't have that superintendent control of the library. If there was a local emergency declared, then we would have the authority to close that. One of the things that we are going to do is playground equipment, since this contact virus is, we're going to put the playground equipment itself off limits to minimize children that may be asymptomatic from spreading the virus. But also a piece of that will be, okay, here's some other things you can do for activity. And for your information, I know in the meeting this morning, the school district or the school administrators have a conference call with Kansas State Board of Education on Thursday. School board has a board meeting on Thursday evening, and so I say that so that they've done a good job of putting out information either Thursday night or definitely Friday. If you're wondering where school is moving forward, I suggest you go to the school website as a parent or student and get an accurate update of what's really happening. Go to the source for your information.
Bethany College also is on a break, and they're kind of trying to make some decisions about how they are going forward. One of the big issues is certainly the Messiah Festival, which begins in 3 weeks, and the chorus has been told not to rehearse, and so there are not chorus rehearsals scheduled. And but there are a lot of things that talk to the vibrancy of this community, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. People that have been used to doing things like crazy things like Waffle or the Messiah Festival or going, the KCAC has eliminated all of their spring sports, so there won't be any track meets and tennis meets and that kind of thing. A lot of stuff that happens in the spring, it's not going to be happening. And that's a hard thing. It's hard for our kids, and it's hard for the adults in our community. So, I guess as city council, what I'm saying to all of you is, when you hear problems and concerns, if you don't know the answer, reach out. If it's school district, if it's our hospital, we are very thankful that we have a great, wonderful hospital here, and the staff that is there. And Bethany Home, you cannot go and visit people now at Bethany Home. That's a really difficult thing for a lot of families whose loved ones are in there. So each of these entities that met this morning have their own protocol and their own concerns. So if you hear people that are having, upset concerns, certainly, I guess, reach out to the city here and we will try to put that into the right pipeline of getting information. So, and then remember our local businesses. This is going to be tough. This is really, really tough. We're waiting until tomorrow after the meeting with the county health department about any guidelines about restaurants and bars. And there's a lot of people that work at those places, that this is how they make their money. And certainly the businesses and the business owners and our businesses up and down our main streets and out on Harris and Cole. This is really hard. So, anybody have any other things that they'd like to bring up for us to talk about or think about?
Do they have a happy story in it? Well, I did like working from home today.
Yeah, how many of you get to work from home? Do you get to work from home? Jody,
I did.
A little bit.
a little bit?
How many of you can't work?
Emo, I'm sure.
Busy as ever, hasn't stopped.
Salina School District canceled all their activities for the rest of the year too. And we got an email from the superintendent in Salina that said that we don't know if we'll go back or not this year. So, that's strange.
And I'm sure you're not working from home.
Nope.
Okay, well, any other questions or concerns from anybody? Okay, thank you, everybody. We don't meet again, hopefully, for 3 weeks. So we don't meet again until the first Monday.
It'd be April 6th. If we figure out a different way to host the meeting, we may be doing that. So keep an eye on, give us a week and a half to figure that out. And we'll be sending out an email on meeting protocol.
Wash your hands and use sanitizer. Like your motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I know.
Roxy, do I need to do anything else? Do I need to do anything? I did that, but anything else?
Yes.
We're gonna set up Fox's laptop tomorrow.
Okay.
That's